Morning, it's Martin from Martin's Engine Services. Well, here I am looking into the 1400 Vauxhall engine that I've just finished rebuilding, stock car engine. Now, the reason why I'm revisiting this is yesterday was the first outing for the other 1.4 Vauxhall unit that I replaced the head gasket on a few weeks ago. Now, it had a minor overheat, but the block face was perfectly flat and the cylinder head was perfectly flat. All the valves were sealing nicely. I checked them with degreaser or paint thinners, no problem. Put it back together, it ran fine. It lasted half a race, lost power and started smoking, and now has no compression whatsoever. When you're turning the engine over, you can hear the exhaust popping as air coming exhaust down out the carburetor. So my suspicion is, obviously I haven't stripped it yet, it's still in the car. My suspicion is the head gasket is blown completely down the middle. Now I'm thinking to myself, why has this happened? What can have caused this? So I'm sitting indoors after I found out for half an hour. Then I suddenly had the eureka moment of, hang on a minute. The second engine I just finished, I said on the video that those bolts are frighteningly tight and they don't quite want to go the last few degrees. Now they're the same brand of bolts and the same brand of head gasket used on both engines. I have used this brand before, and I know that this maker gasket is used by a lot of people who build a lot of engines. So I'm not going to sort of name names, but I think, well, I've confirmed there is a problem with the bolts. So I came back down last night and I grabbed a second-hand set of bolts that's been used once. Then I went over to this engine I've just done, and in no particular order, I just went straight to this bolt here. It makes no difference which one. I attempted with a sort of meter-long power bar to see if I could tighten these a fraction more, and it was absolutely locked. I could not physically move it at all, and I thought, well, they should keep them going even when you've reached their sort of limit or their torque point or angle point, should we say. So I thought, right. So I went to undo it, went in less than half a turn, and it was loose. So I thought, oh, hello. So I put in, one at a time, the one-time use set of bolts. They angled up beautifully, they didn't creak, they didn't make horrible noises, and they went all the way around to the last 45 degrees fine. Now, I'm obviously going to replace the bolts and the head gasket, so I've used this as a little experiment. I then tried to tighten it a bit further and it would go further, no problem. I changed all the other bolts in sequence, well, not in sequence, one at a time, to see what would happen. Now, when I got to this end, these two, I think, and this one here, were practically loose. You literally went less than a quarter of a turn and they were loose. But if you tried to go the other way, they were solid. So I don't think that these bolts were stretching at all. I've actually got this one out for measurement purposes. So I thought, right, there's something got to be wrong with the bolts. It's common to both engines. So the bolts that came out of here, which obviously been used once, I've now constructed a very simple test jig to see exactly what happens. Now, these are the bolts removed, used once. This is an original GM set of bolts that's only been used once. So what I did is less than scientific, but it works. I've drilled a piece of steel, so it's got a 20mm thread in it, the same as the block, and I fitted to it one of the bolts that was the problem. I've torqued it down, which has required 18 foot-pounds, and then I'm going to put the camera in the stand and I'm going to show you exactly what has happened. Right. So first of all, I'm just going to wind them in till they bottom out. Exactly like you would if you're putting the head on. A couple of sockets there, but nice and strong. Then we torque them to 18 foot-pounds. Click. Then we've got to do 3 lots of 90 degrees. Now obviously I'm going to guess this as near as. Now these are the bolts that I suspect are a problem. This one's only been in once. The ones over there that I've used already I've discarded. So I know they're not supposed to be used again, but to be fair, we've got one original set and this set. Now they've both only been used once, so we should get a similar enough result. So we go 90 degrees, and that's already starting to spring and feel quite horrible. We go another 90 degrees, and we're already getting to the point where it's feeling not nice. So now we're going to go another 90. Now this is really getting horrible, and I can feel the spring basically on the head of the bolt. Now we want to go another 45 degrees, which also I'm going to guess is here. And now I can't actually really easily move this. I mean, it should be quite tight, but not to the point where I'm bending, you know, this great big bar. And that is as far as I can physically move it. Now, undoing it is also interesting because I've got the bar here. We're coming round, quarter of a turn. Camera's in the way. Now we've gone to half a turn, and it's starting to go very, very loose. So we're just on sort of half a turn now, and we're loose. There we go, that's it. It's now gone completely loose. So let's swap it over for one of an original GM bolt. Now that one I will discard because it's been used, obviously been used a couple of, well, now twice. So we'll make sure it's the same as when it's fitted to the engine. Bit of oil under the head of the bolt. The other one's all oily already. Oil on the thread. I was hoping to do a side-by-side comparison, but in the block of metal there is the end of my M10 by 125 tap, which I got all the way through to the end, right the way through, and it just felt slightly weird, and then it fell in half. So I thought, great, but it doesn't matter. And this original GM bolt went to torque much earlier. Now we go R3 90 degrees, if we can get it going in the right place. So we go around, and this feels nicely. It's got a nice stretch to it. There's no springing back. It just feels good. Well, as much as a bolt can feel good. Right. We go the next 90. Going quite happily. Nice feel to it. Hasn't made any horrible noises. Need to go another 90. Still feeling good. Onto there nicely. No serious spring back. It doesn't feel weird. And then we're going to go the last 45 degrees, which is about there. Gone round to it, no problem whatsoever. That was tight, but it wasn't hanging on it tight. Now is the interesting bit. I can, if I wish to, overstretch this bolt quite comfortably. And now it's over torqued, I can undo it. Now, let's undo it. Quarter of a turn, half a turn. And it's almost a full turn before it goes loose enough to remove my fingers. So there is a significant difference between the way these bolts work and are stretching. Now I suspect that the material these are made from is either just simply too hard, or it could be a bad batch because they were bought a week apart. So I think we found out what's happened. Although these have gone down very tight, I think effectively you're just literally, well, you're turning them, but they're not stretching properly. And although they've gone to where you want them to be, they're simply not doing the job. It's hard to explain, but the total difference in the two bolts when you tighten them up is, well, they're chalk and cheese. The fact that I can over torque that comfortably makes the point. Now I'm going to try it again for a control situation, using another one of these new ones that's been used once. So to be fair, I'm not mixing any of them up once they've been used a second time. So obviously the ones that are in the engine have now been used for a second time. So although I could do a second time use on 3 bolts and compare, but I don't think I need to go any further with this Sounds like a scene from Arkwright there. This is one of the suspect bolts. Now it torques up. It's gone very tight already before it wants to torque, and I'm going a little bit further than GM one. Now let's do the experiment. So the first 90, yeah, it's really starting to fight already. And the second 90 is now getting almost to the point of where the GM type bolt and the ones in the other engine were, tight, but were still easily movable. Now we're going now for the third 90, and I am really having to hang on this. Oh, and that is literally at the point where I can't go any harder on that or any further. Now I'm going to try the last 45, see where it goes to. And that is it. That doesn't want to go any further. Now out of curiosity, I'm going to attempt to go further. I can't actually move that any further. That is it. It is now gone solid. So let's try the undoing again. 90 degrees. Just further. Half a turn and loose. So a half a turn, they've gone loose. So there's definitely something wrong with this bolt or the type of material. So that's what's happened in the other engine. They simply have not clamped properly, and we should let the head go. Now obviously I've checked things like length, shoulder length. There's a slight variation in the washer thickness, but the overall bolt length is the same. Everything matches up the same. So just for the sheer hell of it, I'm going to try another original GM bolt. I know I'm using a couple of rather expensive branded sockets for this experiment, but yeah, they work fine. So we'll do one more and see what happens, and I think we've pretty much proved where our problem lies. We have a stretch bolt that doesn't appear to have the ability to stretch. See, that one's gone straight away, half the effort to actually get to torque. 90, no problem. 90, no problem. Yeah, that's gone the 90 again. And we'll just give it a little crank for the 45, which is about there. No problem, gone straight there. And as we know, it'll undo easy. Now I'm going to severely overstretch this to see how far it will actually go. I may even break it or rip the thread out, but I'm just curious to find out if this just will simply stretch more and more and more. Yeah, no problem. It doesn't even feel bad. It just feels fine. Now I've gone another 90 degrees past its spec. No problem. Now let's try the undo again and see how far it takes. Give me back the socket. And right, so that's about 3/4 of a turn, coming up towards a turn. Still got some torque on it. One turn, loose. So it takes a full turn to loosen the original GM one off, but only half a turn to loosen those off. So there's no way that they can be stretching correctly. So I think, folks, that proves the problem. They may look the same, but they are not correct. I don't know much about sort of metallurgy and how these exact science of how it exactly works. But that proves it. GM bolt used for second time, tightens nicely, feels fine. You can over torque it, come back, fine. This one, you can just get that last 45, and I cannot physically move it anymore. and I'm basically hanging on that bar. Now, I'm bowing that, so that tells you all. So, that has the problem there. So, I'm now going to proceed to remove the engine from the... remove the engine from the head. No. Remove the head from the engine and get a new head gasket and another set of bolts. I'm using another brand I've used in the past with good success, and that's going to isolate the problem. So, I was pretty disappointed when it went wrong, because you all suspect, oops, did I do something? But now we have a proof. Now these bolts do arrive boxed in the same packaging as the gaskets, the same brand. I mean, the company obviously sources these from wherever. So, we now know what the problem is. So, that's what's happened so far early on this Monday morning. I'm waiting for the parts today to reassemble the Peugeot, and that gasket should be with me. And I've got lots happening this week, so we should have quite a few videos. And I've also received the replacement crankshaft for the 1.4 foot, I'll get it right in a minute, 1.4 Ford Puma SE engine, baby Zetec. So I can get on with that. I've ordered the parts, so lots to do. Anyhow, I hope you enjoyed this little video on investigating the problem of the stretch bolts that don't stretch. So at least I found the problem, because in 2 weeks' time, the owner of the engine's actually got a big championship meeting. So we've now got the quandary of, do we fix the other engine again, or do we stick an untested, brand new, fully rebuilt engine in? We'll ponder that one, but at least we know the cause, and I've caught the problem on the freshly built engine before it becomes a problem. So if I find any more out about this or whatnot, I'll let you know on the Wednesday update. But otherwise, thanks very much for watching. Please like and subscribe, or hit the magic 90 subscribers, which is fantastic. And if any of you have come across this problem, you've got any thoughts on the subject or anything, I really would like to hear and get some information. So thanks very much indeed for watching, and bye for now.